Hey, Steve, what's up?
Hey, how's it going? So you're Dan, my dad, and I'm Steven, your son. In case you may have forgotten,
You never know with me. Yeah, thanks.
I know it's been a moment since the last time we were on here
Yeah, and I haven't even
together.
seen you since Wednesday online, the Drum Talk TV meeting.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. But yeah, we're here for Dylan Howe birthday episode, and we were trying to. Well, I was trying to figure out like what's something that we haven't talked about that involves him. One of the things that came to mind was the
Bank robbery spree. Oh, no, those are convenience stores, I think. I forgot. We got to ask him.
no, but one of the things that I thought of was the Steve Howe trio, but so maybe that'll be something for another time. But I was reminded that there was actually something before that that involved him, his dad Steve, and his brother Virgil, and a couple other musicians, and that was Steve Howe's Remedy. So this was a band that, when Steve Howe was making an album called Elements, it kind of turned into a band situation by the end of it, where he figured, what, it would be nice to like have this as a band. And so that album had a lot of people on it, and then that came out 2003, and then March 2004, I believe, is when this concert film Remedy Live was filmed.
It's
And
so good, too. It's done really well.
yeah, so touring as a five-piece, which included Ray Fenwick and Derrick Taylor as well, guitar and bass respectively. And yeah, so I listened to these slash watched this, you know, focusing in on Dylan's drumming, but you also got to like pay attention to like what everyone else is doing, because how can you not?
Right. There's that other third Howe guy, the older one.
Yeah. Steve.
Which, by the way, like, if I may, just two quick things I'd like to mention. I know we're going to go through the track list and all that stuff, but the first two things that got me about revisiting the studio album and watching the live film was two things right away. Steve Howe's voice is so different, I think, on the album, on the songs where he sings. His voice sounds really pleasant, really good, but also on both the album, which is produced very well, and on the concert film, Dylan's drums sound amazing. His playing is great, of course, but the sound of the drums, they sound live on the album, and live they sound like an album. No, live they sound very live, and I love that. As a drummer, everyone has their own personal taste, whether they're a drummer or another musician or a music fan. My personal taste as a drummer is I don't like muted drums. I don't get the whole, well, I get it. It's just not my thing. The gels, the dots, the dips, the doos, the gum, the tape, all that stuff. It's not for me. And I love that his drums have a nice fat tonal sound. They just have timbre like a voice or a nice piano or other wood, bodied instrument. Those are the first two things that got me right away.
Yeah, you touched on a couple things there that I have comments on. With Steve singing, I really enjoy hearing him sing. And I think for whatever reason, Yes fans give him a lot of flack. And I kind of wonder, would it feel different to people who are non-Yes fans, who don't want just, John, Chris, either of the Trevors, etc. So I'm kind of curious about that. But
Yeah, the thing though also is, again, if you listen to any one song he sings on this album versus his first album, there his voice is so different. Like, it doesn't
yeah, there
even
is a
sound like the
difference.
same
Yeah.
guy. Yeah, and normally, of course, unlike Chris Squire, Steve never sung any lead passages and never really had a forefront in the backing vocal of the Yes choir, but his voice was always the tenor, which is interesting because Chris's speaking voice was so low, but he sung as an alto most of the time. So when you hear him sing on his own on at least the first couple albums, Beginnings and the Steve Howe album, I could see how some people would not like it. I liked it, but on this album, on Remedy, it's so much more developed and more melodic, and just his voice sounds different, and I like it.
Yeah, when I put on this studio album Elements, I kind of forgot about the possibility of there being vocals. I kind of thought it would be instrumental, and then when the vocals come in on certain tracks, I'm like, oh yeah, this has vocals on it.
I wasn't even sure it was him at first.
Oh really?
It was that different. Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah, and you mentioned the drum sound. I feel like with I don't know if this is something that maybe some people think, or if it's just something that I think some people think. But, Dylan is very much a jazz guy, jazz drummer. And I do wonder if maybe there are some people who think that jazz is maybe not as heavy as rock and maybe don't expect the drumming to sound as heavy in jazz. But here, like right on the opening couple tracks, like the drumming feels very loud and upfront and heavy, but still jazzy. And I think that's really impressive and really adds layers to the material on here.
Yeah, and I love that opening track. That's a great way to start an album.
Oh yeah, Across the Cobblestone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it starts off really high energy, and then it goes into like quieter bits here and there with certain tracks. So I'll just read them off real quick. Across the Cobblestone, B strings, West Winds, Where I Belong, Whiskey Hill, The Chariot of Gold, Tremolando, Pacific Haze, Load Off My Mind, Hecla Lava, Smoke Silver, Inside Out Muse, Rising Sun, Sand Devil, The Longing, and A Drop in the Ocean. And I feel like there are a couple tracks that felt like they very well could have been on either of those, Steve Howe and Virgil Howe albums. Yeah, I think maybe it was The Longing that was one of them, and Tremolando. I could totally imagine those being on those albums.
Yeah.
And Sand Devil, funny enough, like the vibe of it kind of reminds me of Fanfare for the Common Man.
Oh yeah, totally.
That type of pacing and stuff. Apparently, the track Hecla Lava was recorded around the time of The Ladder, but as it sits with the rest of these tracks, it does not feel like it was recorded at a different time. Everything here feels like it all belongs in the same place, which is really cool.
Yeah. For those who don't know, The Ladder being about 5 years earlier than that was, this was released 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. I think Pacific Haze, which is the longest track on here, might be my favorite on here. And, there are horns on this, and Andrew Jackman did some arrangements on there as well. I love how it goes through like twists and turns, and there are moments on this album that feel very jazzy. Like there's plenty of jazz on here. And of course, Chet Atkins influence, Steve Howe. So it's a really cool album.
Also Wes Montgomery, who's a huge Wes Montgomery fan as well.
Yeah. I also have the images on my end, so I'll go ahead and share the album.
Well, while you do that, I'll read the instrumentation, okay?
Okay.
So Steve Howe, vocals, electric guitar, acoustic guitar, pedal steel, dobro, and mandolin and dulcimer. Virgil Howe, keyboards and vocals. I hope I'm pronouncing this name right. Gilad Atman, alto saxophone, tenor saxophone, baritone saxophone, clarinet, and flute. Derrick Taylor, bass guitar. Dylan Howe, drums. Jamie Talbot, alto saxophone. Stan Solzman, tenor saxophone. Philip Todd, baritone saxophone. Derek Watkins, trumpet. Simon Gardner, trumpet and flugelhorn. Mark Nightingale, trombone. Neil Sidwell, trombone. Cameron McBride, engineering. Curtis Schwartz, mixing. And as Stephen mentioned, Andrew Jackman, arranging.
Yeah.
What do you think of the cover? I like the cover.
Yeah, it's very Roger Dean, frequent collaborator with Steve, of course. It's I'm not as used to seeing his works closer to black and white. I'm used to seeing them more in color, but I do like the contrast between the setting itself being somewhat grayscale while the logos are in color, blue and red. It kind of makes me wonder if there might be an alternate version of how this looks with color, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah, and I don't know if you see it, but this part oh, people can't see my thing. What am I doing? The part on the right looks like a big bird perched on a nest or a rock with its wings up
Oh
and it's
yeah.
pointing down to maybe feed a baby bird.
Yeah,
You
it could
see that?
even look like a dolphin,
Oh
maybe.
wow, yeah.
So
That's
yeah, I can
interesting.
see either one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um
interesting. A dolphin
and
fish.
it feels very much in the vein of Keys to Ascension, with the rocks and the
Yep.
arches and stuff. So it feels like it's very much of that era.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what was this your first time listening to Elements, or had you heard it before?
I'm embarrassed to say I think it I feel like I heard it. I don't have it, but I feel like I heard it before because when I first put it on, I think I recognized the first song, which I love. Um, the opening track Across the Cobblestones. There were a few other things that were familiar. So I'm honestly not sure. It felt like I was revisiting it though. But it does not sound dated either, which is
Right.
great.
Yeah, I think at the very least I may have heard bits and pieces of it before, but yeah, it was really fun going through it like from start to finish. And and again, like Dylan's drumming like really adds a bit more to the material, kind of elevates it in a way.
Yeah. And then some of those songs, as well as other things from Steve's solo albums throughout his catalog, and a couple of guest surprises are in the film. Um, some really great stuff. Can we move to that yet, or do you
Yeah, let's go
like?
ahead. So Remedy Live.
Yeah, the first thing I went to is I watched the beginning. The intro is really neat, and the first song. But then I scanned all the songs, and I had to jump right to excerpt of the Ancient. That's my favorite solo piece of his that he ever did with Yes. Whether it's part of a song or a full song, I just love that classical guitar bit from the Ancient, and it's just so beautifully done there. And it goes into, I remember when he did that kind of version, an acoustic version of To Be Over on the Full Circle tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but there's some great stuff here. Verm, To Be Over,
Yeah.
Second Initial, Mood for a Day, Clap, and then you've also got Penance, which I love. I love that song from the Steve Howe album. Just love that song.
Yeah, the film ends with Steve's acoustic set, but before that, you get to see the Remedy band. So, Steve, Virgil, Dylan, Derrick, and Ray, and they work really well together. And like you said, it has like selections from various facets of Steve's career, like solo, yes, and from the Elements album, like
Yeah.
because this was in support of that. And
America into
oh
Southern
yeah.
Solo. That was a
Yes,
surprise.
Steve even sings a bit of America, yeah.
Yeah. Excerpt from Close to the Edge. This is so worth watching, folks. If you missed it 20 years ago, 20 years ago, I can't believe it's 20 years old.
Yeah. And I'll go ahead and go through like a couple screenshots from this. I believe I have,
Oh, cool. I
but
know.
yeah,
I wish we could play excerpts, folks, but it would just get snagged.
yeah. So there's a band. There's Virgil, Steve. That's a really cool, colorful outfit that he has there. I wish I had something like that.
Yeah, that's neat.
There's Ray, Steve, and Virgil. Derrick. So I think I have another one here of Dylan. Yeah,
There
there's
we
an
go.
action shot of Dylan right there. I love his solo. This is during the song So Bad, and he just like really goes into it. Really great speed and great power like display. It's really cool.
Yeah. He hasn't really changed much in 20 years.
Yeah.
He looks very much the same.
Yeah. I actually have oh yeah, there's a Guitarscape album which is coming out I think late September. You know, he's on there with Steve. And that's the
Yeah,
more recent photo we
yeah.
got of him and of
Birthday boy.
Steve.
His
Yeah.
birthday.
Yeah.
His birthday, folks. 55?
Yeah, 55. Yeah. So
I'm older
what
than almost everyone these days.
so I have thoughts on the songs
In the film?
in the film, but first off, before I forget, what'd you think of the cinematography of it all?
I thought it was really good. I'm real critical of that stuff, as you know, but I thought it was done really well. It's shot very well.
Okay, yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Like
Oh,
what?
oh, go ahead. I just remembered something, but go ahead. Sorry. Oh,
No, I was just gonna say, you know, the lighting. I feel like the lighting in concert films sort of gives each one an identity. So, you know, when I think of this concert, of the lighting is something that I'm definitely gonna remember. You know, like seeing them against all this. But yeah, what were you guys say?
yeah. One of the things that did drive me crazy, and it's not like this throughout the whole film, and I did watch it in bits and pieces. I didn't sit and watch the whole thing in a row, but I left it there to remind me. The excerpt from the Ancient, the sound is off by like half a second or a third of a second, and that stuff just drives me nuts.
Mhm.
I don't know
Yeah,
if it happened with you. I don't know if it's somehow the way the playback is on my laptop. I don't know. I'll have to let me just see just for
yeah. I guess I'd have to check again. But yeah, I was watching it while also like taking care of something. But yeah, it's. I think overall it sounds really good.
yeah,
But
it sounds
yeah,
great and does look great. Yeah.
yeah. I definitely had seen a little bit of this film before, not maybe not the entire thing, but I do remember, you know, getting to the song or track Sensitive Chaos. And, you know, that's a track from his Turbulence album, I believe. And it has that little bit of I Would Have Waited Forever. And so when I got to there, I was like, oh, yeah, I've definitely seen this clip before at some point in the
Oh,
past.
interesting. I never saw any of it. I was completely unaware of it till you sent it to me.
Yeah. Um, and yeah, like everyone here is like working so well together, and like the Elements album, there's a nice um amount of jazz on here, and but you also get the familiarity of the Yes Elements, and you even get a Lost Symphony, which was from his Beginnings album, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
And
love that too. It's great.
yeah, so funny enough, White Bicycle, when that one started playing, I thought to myself, huh, this feels like the most modern sounding song on this film so far. And then I looked up which song it was, and I was like, oh, it's that Tomorrow song. I think it's Tomorrow. It's one of Steve's pre Yes bands. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah. but, but yeah, so this track list has Small Acts of Human Kindness, Where I Belong, Sensitive Chaos, Penance, Country Viper, excerpts from Close to the Edge. That one really surprised me. You know, that one started and I was like, oh, I know this. What is it? Oh, Close to the Edge. And then Diary of a Man Who Vanished, So Bad, Across the Cobblestone, America / Southern Solo, The Nature of the Sea, Lost Symphony, While Rome's Burning, Raga / My White Bicycle, Verm, and then the acoustic set, like we mentioned, excerpt from The Ancient, To Be Over, Jay's theme, Second Initial, Mood for a Day, Clap, and Intersection Blues. But yeah, so what other thoughts do you have on Dylan's drumming, perhaps from this concert?
I think this really shows his versatility. Not that that isn't detected from the album that they were supporting, but from the film, you really I like to see him play too. And like you said, he can have power and speed, but he's also a very jazzy player. And there's quite a I'm looking at the list here. There's quite an assortment of music when you look at going all the way back to his first solo album, Steve's that is, and through, you know, some of the Yes stuff and everything. There's a lot of different stuff here for everybody to have to adapt to, um, and accommodate, if you will, you know, and not make it all sound like it's the same thing. You know, they respected each song, I guess is the way to put it.
Yeah, there is definitely variety, and yet it all worked so well playing it all back to back. It's so good.
Definitely.
Yeah, and this was like I said, shortly before the 35th anniversary tour, and you know, seeing Dylan in this configuration, and then much later on, you saw him play with Yes on the 2017 Yestival tour. He was originally supposed to join them on the Topographic Drama tour, but there were some visa issues, and then he joined him for the Yestival tour, and then um, after that, they of course went with Jay Shellen. So I do like that they at least experimented with, you know, having Dylan on there, but I think, you know, they probably had a good talk and decided that, you know, Jay is probably the way to go, but Dylan, of course, still contributes with Steve's like solo and adjacent works. And there's a recent interview where Steve was talking about how he really loves working with Dylan. They get along pretty well, and so I'm real excited to see how they collaborate again on the upcoming Guitarscape album.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you also posted, I love that video that you posted where it starts out with a drum duet and then it goes into the intro of Don't Kill the Whale. That was really cool.
Yeah. And we reached out to Dylan, and without saying too much, so it's looking like the answer as whether to have him on the show is like not at the moment, but in the future. So like whenever that happens, we'll keep you all posted. And as far as
it's for good reason, by the way. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, he's very kind, and yeah, we look forward to having him on the show in the future whenever that's possible. And Steve might be really busy. I know he starts going out on tour with Yes during their tour with Deep Purple in several days, but definitely want to talk about Guitarscape when we get the chance, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait for that to come out. Yeah. Highly recommend this. Watching this film and getting this album, they're both very good.
Yeah, like Elements felt somewhat eclectic, but still felt like it's all on the same, like everything belongs on there. You know, there might be some albums like, you know, some people cite Tormato as an example of, you know, it's some think maybe it's too eclectic and it's like, does this all belong? But with Elements, I don't think there's really that question, right?
I agree.
Yeah. Right. So do you have any other thoughts on this album, this concert film?
I'm going to watch the concert film again today while I'm working. I have it queued up right there. And it's that good where I just want to run through the whole thing again. I love it.
Yeah. I can't believe that that's 20 years ago.
I know.
Just
that caught me by surprise too. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it'd be cool to you know, if there are any other solo concert films that we're unaware of, like even with like other Yes members. Well, I guess this is more of a band film just fronted by Steve, but yeah, it's always cool to discover those things, you know, those things that are sort of a blind spot for us, and then we check them out and it's like, wow, why haven't we checked this out sooner?
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Yeah, there's so much out there, you know, that it's sometimes hard to keep track of.
Right. So any other closing thoughts on either of these?
No, other than I'm looking forward to August 14th, if you want to mention that real quick, now that we can.
Well, I have to look. Oh, I know what you mean. So yeah, I thought you were referring to a couple other things, but then I was like, oh yeah, it's this thing. So long story short, we're going to see John Anderson and the Band Geeks over in the Celebrity Theater in Phoenix on August 14th. So I'll be visiting Dad, and then we're gonna see the show, and then afterward, maybe like the next morning or something, we'll review the show, share our thoughts, and yeah, it's gonna be a fun time. I think that this will be correct me if I'm wrong, but this will be your first time seeing a concert involving Yes music since 2018 or something, right? Because we've been super busy.
Gosh, I think you're right. Was it 2018?
Yeah, I think so.
When Dylan was with them?
No, that was 2017. 2018 was the year after when you and I and Alex, my brother, saw them together.
Oh yeah, that's what I was picturing that, but yeah, that's right, in San Diego.
No, Anaheim.
Right, but it was Father's Day, I think, if I remember right.
Yeah, it was that weekend. Yeah.
Okay, I remember now. Yeah. Wow, I can't believe it's been that long. And
yeah, I remember we saw that in Anaheim and then went to the county fair in San Diego. Yeah.
Yeah. But it'll be fun. So Steve's going on a road trip because I live in the mountains in Arizona. He lives in SoCal.
Well, I'm taking a plane because.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm not taking the road to there. Like,
yeah, it's
no offense.
a little crazy. Yeah. Did you see the video I posted from 2 nights ago when we came home from the airport, the lightning strike?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Not the Yes song lightning strikes,
right?
But an actual video.
I did think of that at the time.
Yeah.
But this will be fun. I've seen some short clips on some reels that people have posted seeing John and the Band Geeks, and it's incredible how amazing he sounds. I showed Angel. I'm like, he's gonna be 80. Listen to him. It really is incredible. It really is.
Yeah. So I'm very much looking forward to that, as well as whenever Yes comes around to my neck of the woods as well again, whenever that is.
Yeah, and other than Asia, I've never seen a Yes member solo or with another band other than Asia, and I saw Rick Wakeman solo in about 1982 or 3. Yeah, something 1980. When was Victoria born? 86. So it's probably like 85, 86. I saw Rick Wakeman on tour, and I've seen Asia, but I've never seen a Yes member outside their element of being with Yes, other than those two different things. So this will be cool.
Yeah, for sure. I guess ABWH would kind of
be in
that mix as well, right?
Right, but there were more than one of them. Yeah.
Oh yeah, true.
Same with Asia, but yeah, that's right. That was their own thing. I still am on that camp where it wasn't Yes. It was guys from Yes doing something else, and then they included some Yes songs, which helps to make it even more confusing.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of a story that Oliver told. I don't know if it was with us or with someone else, but of how like during the ABWH period, he thought it was funny that, the guitarist's son is talking to the drummer, Bill Bruford, while the keyboardist's son, Oliver, is talking to the guitarist, Steve. So kind of funny how that was happening in that era. Yeah, and before we sign off, I see a few comments. Eleanor Ramos says, hola. Chad Sandville says, tuning in from northern Vermont.
No, it's Vit.
Yeah, Vit. And Bella Lugrisi says, hello, all good people. Happy birthday, Dylan. Yeah.
Thanks, Bella. Sure. Thanks, Chad. Thanks, Eleanor.
Yeah. Right? Is that right? Or Eleanor, maybe. I'm not sure. I whenever I pronounce names, I feel like super bad. It's like no joke. I feel like the worst person ever whenever I pronounce names incorrectly.
I know, and everyone gets our name wrong.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah, we get Schneider, Schindler. Even if I spell it out for someone, they add an L or a C. Even if I'm spelling it out, it's crazy. I don't get it. People on autopilot.
Yeah.
Families who rock together stay together. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Steve and I rock together, just in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah, we go to geology museums and whatnot.
That's true. Hey, maybe we can do. Remember what we did? Must have been 9, 10 years ago or something. You came over to our house in Las Vegas and played on the electronic drum set while I played the other one.
Yeah, that might have even been like 9 years ago. Maybe it was forever ago.
Yeah, because we've been here 8 years in Arizona, but I have 2 drum sets set up. I don't have the E kit set up, but I have the 4-piece jazz kit and the big blue monster kit. So we'll have to do that again. That'll be fun.
Yeah, well, we could give that a try, but if I'm super bad at it, then it'll never see the light of day.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
A real hard science, Bella. That's funny. Bella, where are you located? I forgot.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So again, happy birthday to Dylan Howe, and looking forward to whatever future activities you may be involved with. And recently I listened to the Jazz Sabbath vinyl records I have, and he's on one of them. It's really cool stuff.
Yeah, and you saw them live recently.
Yeah, well, it was Adam Wakeman and a couple other different people. So on the album it's a different lineup.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool, very cool. Thanks everybody so much. And she's in Charlottesville.
Okay.
But we'll travel for Prague.
Yeah. Yeah, they have the right idea. Yeah. Nice, Bella.
Awesome. And here's some geology for you right here. I have it all over my office.
Yeah. Oh, Bella's he correcting us.
Oh, sorry. Just kidding.
Yeah,
see, I screw up names and gender. I don't know.
Yeah, we're working on that. Yeah. But thanks for tuning in, everyone. You can follow us at Yes Shift on YouTube and Facebook, and find us on anchor.fm/Yes Shift. You can also type Yes Shift in podcast apps, so probably find us. And you can also, Bella's name is Kenny here. Okay. And you can also write to us via yesshiftpodcast@gmail.com, and any feedback, suggestions, and whatnot, and lots of great stuff up ahead. Always something to talk about, and looking forward to next time, and we'll see you all soon.
Yep, we'll be together probably. The next one will probably be when we're together.
Yeah, probably. And I might go live with another vinyl talk thing,
cool.
Depending on like my schedule, because I do like various things, so we'll see.
Awesome. And keep your eye on Drum Talk TV, folks. Really fun new stuff happening. Very excited about that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, thanks everyone.
Bye-bye.